Italians, I just wanted to give you part two of the videos on the writing section for the ACT. Last time we were working on this prompt about public health and individual freedom. If you need to take a second to go back and read the prompt and look at the perspectives, do that now. Otherwise, I'm going to continue on. So this video is going to be about creating a quick outline. When I really believe in creating a quick outline because sometimes if I get in the middle of an essay, I will have completely forgotten what I wanted to say. So I think it's important to jot down some bullets, not complete sentences or anything, just some general ideas, some things that I know that I want to talk about. So just to go back, the topic of this was on how much individual freedom should be taken into account when we're dealing with public health issues. The summary up here was talking about how smoking is prohibited in places, which is, the right to smoke. That's prevented because smoking can cause health problems in others. Same thing with car emissions. We have to have our cars inspected, not in South Carolina, but in North Carolina, in order to reduce population, which could cause us health risks. And so you were asked to, and remember our essay task was down here, you were asked to clearly state your own perspective on the issue and analyze the relationship between your perspective and at least one other perspective. And we also talked about the idea of speed limits, right? We can't go as fast as we want because if we're going as fast as we want, we get into an accident, we're more likely to kill ourselves and kill somebody else. So that might be something that I address in my essay. So the first thing that I would want to do my quick outline is this first bullet. Clearly state your own perspective on the issue and analyze the relationship between your perspective and at least one other perspective. So if I'm doing a quick outline, I want to go ahead and start with my thesis or my claim, however you want to talk about it. And again, this doesn't need to be complete sentences. So I think I'm going to stick with perspective one because remember down here it said you can be in agreement with one of these perspectives or come up with your own. All right. So I think I'm going to stick with perspective one, and I'm just going to jot down my thesis. We should give up our freedoms for the good of others. Okay, that's my thesis. All right. Looking back at the prompt, it says I have to discuss my perspective and then at least one other perspective. Okay, so I can't forget to do that. So when I'm coming back here, we should give up our freedoms for others. All right, so I'm going to do a little notch here, a little bullet. Okay, so what's going to be my examples of how we have to give up our freedoms for the good of others? Well, I think I'm going to talk about, and remember, we don't want to use their examples, okay, about car emissions and smoking. I want to use my own original examples. So I'm going to talk about the speed limit. Okay, and I think I might also talk about, what's another topic? I'll talk about vaccines. Okay, because not everybody wants to get a vaccine, but we get them because getting a vaccine means I'm not going to get sick, which means I won't get other people sick. All right, so those are going to be my two topics. So now I've got my quick outline of my my thesis, and then I've got the two topics, and I suggest that you talk about two different reasons or topics that address why we should give up our freedoms for the good of others. Okay, so that's my personal opinion. Now, remember that in the prompt it said we have to analyze the relationship between your perspective and at least one other perspective. So I have to at least address one of these other issues. So if this is my perspective, I need to at least talk a little bit about perspective 2 or 3. So either not giving up freedoms or the right to avoid health risks is a freedom too. So the idea that I guess we should give up all of our freedom to make sure that other people have a right to be healthy. Okay, I think I'm going to address perspective 2. Okay, so this is going to be me, if I'm making my thing, as part of my introduction. That's probably where I would include the other side. I might say something like, although, or actually what I might do is make sure that I'm addressing what the other side would think in each of these topics. Okay, so just to make note of it as my quick outline, maybe I'll put in parentheses, um, um, the right to drive as slow or fast as you want. Um, is endangers others. Okay, so notice here I've reminded myself that I do have to address that other perspective. So the right to drive or as slow as you fast. So that's the other perspective, the idea that I should be able to do what I want. But I've acknowledged that it endangers others. So somewhere in my body paragraph, I'm going to need to include that, right? So the same thing here. I'm going to note my the other side. So although you um, should have the right to say no to vaccines if you don't want them. Um, your right endangers others. Um, therefore, you can't. Um, therefore, you have to give up that freedom. Okay, so again, notice that I've acknowledged the other side, and that's really what it suggests is that you just have to acknowledge the other side. So you can't just beat them up with your side. You got to give them so show what the other side thinks. Okay, so notice again, I'm going to go back here. Anything else I need to remember from my prompt? Okay, I've got some. So I've acknowledged the other side. I've got my two topics that I'm going to discuss. Okay. And that's pretty much all you need to acknowledge in your quick outline. All right. So notice this is just three lines. Okay. A few words here and there just to remind myself so that as I'm writing, I can go back to this quick outline. If you have any questions, guys, please let me know. Thanks.